What's going on, guys? Hope you are doing well. Beautiful, amazing, awesome people out there. Just wanted to stop in here real quick. You know who I am, and I know why I'm here. I know what I can do. You know that I know where I'm going, and you know that I know where I am from. The five most important, or should I say vitally important, questions that every human being must know in order to succeed in life. So I didn't plan this. This is some of my favorite moments to stop in here and talk to you guys, share with you guys. Um, so here's why I stopped in. Here's my pit stop, because number one, I'm thinking about you guys, okay? I don't care what color you are. I don't care your religion. I don't care where you're from. How about just being a human being, right? If you looked at some of my previous talks, you understand what, hopefully you understand what that word means. When you break up human, you got hue means dirt body, right? Humanist. And then you got man in the Hebrew, who actually means, or what actually means spirit. So you're probably going to hear some noise in the background. I'm on the front porch, and yeah, I like coming out here sometimes barefooted. And the reason why I like doing it barefoot is because if some of you should look this up, is because of the grounding principle, right? But the grounding principle, when you walk barefooted, I can't remember the name of the NFL player, but he actually talked, was very knowledgeable about that, and he shared that with the team he was on, and had a whole bunch of people walking around the field and walking around places barefooted because because of the energy, the electrons in the earth, and you walking barefooted, we're grounded. And that actually does a lot of great things for your cells, because our body has at least 100 trillion cells in it, which is so cool. But anyway, here's why I stopped in. That was just a fun fact I like to drop, because obviously you're not going to get that at your job. You're not going to get that from your boss. If you're a business owner, you're not going to hear that from your employees, most likely. You're not going to get that on TV, most likely. So, this comes from, researching, just, taking time out to find out, hey, man, if I'm living in this body, I need to find out how it operates, right? And I need to find out how to take care of it, because I'm sure most of you guys know that you're only going to get one body, right? So, it's not like baseball, where you get three strikes. This is like you get one strike and you're out. So anyway, so here's what I was thinking about. And I put it in the title, who do you get your value from? And it's very important that you actually look those words up verbatim, individually. I recommend you look at the English, the Latin and the Hebrew, if it has an origin, the origin of those words, because those words, equate to ideas, and we're basically an idea. The shirt that I'm wearing is an idea, right? Me as an individual being born was an idea, right? The windows, the blinds behind me, that stone right there is an idea, right? This phone is an idea. Everything begins and is in the middle and ends with an idea, concept. So, and hopefully you remember what concept means. It means one thought, one continuous thought, right? It's a philosophy. So I was thinking about, who do you get your value from? Because questions I like to ask, people. And here's a tip also too. We're all salesmen in anything that we do. Here's a quick tip that I learned, and just by rereading something again, that if you get objections, and let's say you're selling something, all you got to do is ask questions, right? Find out what people want or interested in, or a vulnerable point, and just ask them questions, and then show them how to get it. So that's another quick tip. See, if you learn those two principles that I just shared with you right there, the grounding principle, and then also what I just shared with you about finding out what people want and showing them how to get it, right? The value in something, that right there will make you a lot of money right there. Okay. So anyway, so where do you get your value from, or who do you get your value from? And that right there will determine your future. So I'm just going to give you something. I'm not going to be on here long. So value is obviously worth. What do you deem to be worthy? You know, obviously you as a human being, and Lord, I know this. When you look around at some of the look at some of the decisions we've made. Look at our family, neighbors, community, country, and just look at our world. We're just, everything is contingent upon who we get our value from. So do we get it from, the TV? Do we get it from what we've accomplished in the past? What we didn't accomplish in the past? What we're doing right now? Do you get your value from any individual? Do you get your value from what kind of car you drive or don't drive? Where do you get your value from? Do you get your value from your kids? Do you get your value from your pastor? Do you get your value from, if you're Muslim, Iman? Do you get your value from your religion? If you're in a religion, do you get your value from, where do you get your value from? This is very important, and this is some of the things that I had to ask myself, right? And if you know me, if you've listened to me long enough, I don't get my value from any human being. That includes my wife, my kids, whoever surrounds me, right? I don't get my value, my worth does not come from that individual person. See, every product obviously has a manufacturer. And when you look up the definition of a product, guess what? It even mentions in there man. And when I say man, I mean the species called mankind, right? So when I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, man is a product. Man meaning male plus female equals mankind, right? Is a product, right? So every product has to have a manufacturer, right? A maker's mind, which is the manual. So with that being said, that determines our future, right? That determines like everything we do or don't do, right? In life, and everything that we accomplish or don't accomplish. And if I know you're like me, because we're all human beings, but you understand that time waits for no one. And so I realized that when I know these deep-rooted, thought-provoking, and I write them down, questions that I mentioned at the beginning of here, those 5 vitally important questions, guess what? That right there expands your horizons. That expands your radius of potential. Okay, are you listening to me? So my challenge to you, and this is I guess 2 weeks ago I threw out a challenge, is for you guys to take those 5 important questions and have a private notebook just for yourself and take time out. As a matter of fact, if you follow me the last 2 weeks, please put in the chat box, just type in the number 14, if you started that. Writing down those 5 questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I from? What can I do? And where am I going? See, this is something that you deserve to do for yourself. Many of you have been giving, but guess what? You have to replenish yourself, right? You have to give, but also as you're giving, you have to continuously to replenish yourself. In other words, understand that you have an intrinsic value. You're invaluable, right? There's nobody like you before, during, and after, right? So this is something that I can't stress enough about, because with a world and with a community, with family and friends, and even us at some times, that have a lot of mental challenges and valleys that we have to go through, and challenges we have to go through with us or kids. And you know obviously life is life, and you guys know what I'm talking about. They bring obstacles, but obstacles, resistance, actually makes us stronger. you know so if you've ever exercised at all, one of the laws in exercise is that whatever you don't use, you're going to lose, right? If you're doing calisthenics and you have a program, a plan, and you're sticking to it, and the more muscles that you use, the more resistance that you invite, so your muscles can, tear, right? Which is a good thing. You be sore for a little bit, and then they grow, right? So it's the same thing spiritually. It's the same thing mentally, and obviously physically. So I was just thinking about you guys. I was just thinking about that word value. Like, who do you get your value from? Because it's extremely important, because that determines, and I didn't say this before, but the value that, who we get that value from, and putting that label of we are invaluable, us individually, spiritually, mentally, and physically. That right there, again, will expand your horizons, expand your radius of potential in life, and that will help you be a better mom, dad, aunt, uncle, cousin, neighbor, just human being. So that does have to do with, the knowledge, the information that we take in on a daily basis. Okay, so I'm out of here. I just thought I'd step in here just for a few minutes. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I mean, right now I'm in North Carolina, and gosh, it's got to be about 70 degrees right now. The sun is setting, beautiful. Um, some bugs here or there, but oh, and I wanted to tell you guys also this too. If you follow me for quite some time, I mentioned to you about the we're in the fifth, I believe. I think it's the fifth year. I think it was 2015, 2016, somewhere around there, maybe 2017. But anyway, I think we're in the fifth or sixth year. I know we're in the fifth or sixth year of the ice age, a little mini ice age. It happens like every 215 years. So that's probably why you're noticing it's getting cooler much sooner. So every year that goes by, I don't know, don't quote me on it, but it's probably like maybe 5, 6, 7 degrees colder much sooner, right? So you may want to think about, hey, how about, next year and the year after that, 2 years from now? Because, if you're up north or whatever part of the world that you're listening to me from, if you can't make your own food, you can't grow your own food, then obviously you're going to be counting on someone else to feed you and your family, right? Which is not a good thing. So I'm always about self-preservation, right? But anyway, hey guys, I'm out of here. Um, don't forget to plan ahead. Don't forget to write those questions down for yourself and take some time out for yourself. And I wish you guys the best, and I will see you guys Tuesday, 7 p.m. Oh, and also, I almost forgot. So I may be transitioning over to Instagram. I'm going to post that in my YouTube also too, because the YouTube AI is let's just say unpredictable. There's a lot of things that I try to convey to you guys, and you got to be like a word watcher, right? I think the AI is programmed to be politically correct, and you already know by now I'm not politically correct, right? So I may be switching over to IG and probably some other platforms and everything. So I'm going to continue talking about this Tuesday, obviously more about the kingdom, more about who you are and how invaluable you are and the people around you are, and how to bring value to yourself even more, and how to bring value around yourself. So that way you don't have to chase money. That way you don't have to chase a title. You don't have to chase things. Learning that law will force things to chase you because it's a law, right? It happens automatically. So this is something that took me at least 20 something years to find out. So if you're, 20 years young, if you're 17, 18, if you're 25, and I can save you 20 years, well, I would say it's more than worth it. So you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Please be safe. Think ahead. Um, think before you act. Put good stuff in to your spirit, soul, and body. Kingdom Diplomat out.